Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of What If Deku Was Abandoned? Um, so then, how this is gonna work is hockey, magic, bending, and nen, and quirks are the same thing. Now I'm telling you all this stuff for future, and I'm sure most of you can already guess what's gonna happen. So then, um, let us see. Uh, um, yeah. Uh, Izuku goes to the quirk doctor, and the doctor sits Inko and Izuku down to tell them the devastating news that Izuku is actually quirkless. Um, Now, Inko, I'm gonna change her a bit. I'm sorry, okay? Everybody does it like this, but whatever, you know? And, uh, she hates quirkless people? Yeah. And let's just say that, 10% of people are quirkless. So, yeah, let's just say that. And um, let's see. Oh yeah. She tells the doctor, okay, that's fine, and she drags along Izuku, shocked Izuku, um, to the car, and then brings him to the middle of nowhere. Let's say, um, a forest near the town, like a good hour walk from the town, and she just goes back home and continues living her life. She will meet All Might. Yeah, yeah. So then, Inko and All Might are together in 2 years from now. So then, Izuku Midoriya is now at a random forest. He can't really walk to the town. He's just too weak. So then he just tries to make a fire. He can't. And then he just gives up, climbs up on a tree, and sleeps there for the night. So then after that, we are now in Izuku's mindscape, if you will, and Izuku sees, sorry about that. Izuku sees 6 figures in front of him, and those 6 are Sang Chunbu from Solo Leveling, the manhwa, Uncle Iroh from the Avatar, Senku from Dr. Stone, Chairman Netero from Hunter x Hunter, Asta from Black Clover, and Zoro from, of course, One Piece. And we all know how this is gonna go. He's gonna get their powers. So then, for those of you who do not know, Sung Jin Woo has the powers of a shadow monarch. Yeah, basically a necromancer, just on steroids. He can revive almost any uh, dead being. Well, let's call it that. Just by saying our eyes and looking at them. I guess that's how he does it. Um, and he has a bunch of skills. Um, and let's see here. He has the power. Yeah, he has the power to extract shadows or souls from dead monsters or humans. Um, After he does that, he can put them in his shadow or someone else's shadow, teleport or exchange places with them, and I would say that's it. I think. Um, there is possibly one more, but that's basically it. Uh, and yeah, so uh, Uncle Iroh, and I'm sure all of you know this, but he is one of the most powerful firebenders in the Avatar: The Last Airbender universe. Um, yeah, he was taught by the dragons, and he has both fire and lightning bending. Uh, I don't think he has combustion bending, so I'm not gonna give him combustion bending. Senku from Dr. Stone. Um, he is the smartest person on earth that is alive, of course. I mean, no, he's dead, but whatever. Um, he uh, uh, he was brought back to life, or broke out of his stone prison after 3,000 and something years, um, before the main show. uh, he get The main start of the show. He The whole entire human race gets uh, basically imprisoned into stone. So then Chairman Neto from Hunter x Hunter, he's one of the strongest nen users in the Hunter x Hunter universe. Um, let's see here. He has the 100 hands, and that's basically it. Asta has anti-magic, and how this is gonna work is he can basically make it so only his palms, Izuku of course, will be able to make it just so his palms are uh, getting magic sucked out of them, and he won't have any magic. So I mean, he will have amazing amounts, because as I said, hockey, which is Zoro's stuff, magic from Black Clover, bending like Iroh, Nen from Hunter, and magic from soul leveling and a quirk, but he doesn't have a quirk, so I mean, he technically does, but he can't be taken away, right? So yeah, and Zoro has the oh yeah, and Asta has 3 swords. He mostly uses two. I mean, mostly one, but he uses two at a time sometimes, right? So then, in Asde is insanely strong. Now then Zoro from One Piece has Haki, which is armament and observation. I don't know if his conquers. I'll check that for the next episode, but um, he basically armament hockey can protect can harden any piece of his body and his weapons, and observation can let him see into the future by like 2 seconds or something like that. Yeah, let's get started. Let's continue, right? So then Izuku asks them who they are, and they explain that they are his previous incarnation. So then they will give him their knowledge mostly, and their skills and their potential, right? So he won't have uh, like all of Sang Woo's skills, for example, but he will be able to extract shadows from bodies, and yeah, and he will have the leveling system. From Myro, he would get the power to firebend, but he will need to train it a lot. From Senku, he will basically get all his knowledge, which means that, you know, Senku just gave him everything he has going for him. Yeah, Chairman Netero will give him the ability to learn Nen. I mean, everybody has Nen, but he will open his Nen pores. Asta will give him his grimoire, but he will have to make the swords, and Zoro will give him the ability to learn Haki on his own. He will teach him the basics, but then uh, he will have to train the rest himself, and yeah, that's basically it. Um, we go after that. He wakes up with all the knowledge they gave him, and the skills, and uh, a window pops up in front of Izuku, and it reads, "Alert! Welcome, new player." Yeah. So then I should probably make some base stats, but that's gonna be from the for the next video. And let's just say that his intelligence is at like 300 because of Senku, and the rest of his stats are at about from 10 to 15, right? So and then that day he just killed a bunny or two, and uh, revived. I mean, bring back their their souls and their shadows back to life, and made them serve under him, and these are basically going to be his pets. Yeah, that's basically it. And oh yeah, and Sunjin shadows are immortal as long as he has mana. But because of his intelligence that is so high, because of Senku, he will be able to basically make them live forever, right? So he eats and trains a bit of firebending, which is from Iroh, and starts making a water wheel. Yeah. So then after that, after a few days, he makes the water wheel, and he will start making a giant smelting furnace. Yeah, let's call it that. For his swords, right? So he also trains a lot of firebending, and he actually kills a bear and a pack of wolves in a week. So then he has trained a lot in firebending, where at this point he can do some basic stuff, basically automatically, right? So yeah, where oh yeah, and he made a holder for his grimoire, and killed killed a pack of wolves and a bear, and revived them so they could, just basically guard him while he sleeps, right? And just a second. Right, let's continue, right? Uh, right. He makes that basically small camp. Uh, right. Yeah. To guard his camp, he killed those animals, and he basically has food if preserved right. He basically has food for a month now. Plus, he can send out half his bag of wolves just to hunt some rabbits or something, right? So, uh, and yeah, yeah. Now then, after that, oh yeah, and from Asta, he gained he gained the memory, let's see, the knowledge of where Devil Steel is hiding, or where Devil Steel is, which he will make his 3 swords out of. Now then, he, after 2 weeks, let's say, so then he gets abandoned. 2 weeks later, he created a generator of electricity and went to went to oh yeah, and he hooked up the generator to the water wheel. So yeah, he has basically free energy after that. Yeah, he goes out to search for the first batch of Devil Steel. Yeah, I called that right. Yeah, and all this time he is practicing his firebending, right? So then, after that, he finds the first batch, he mines it out, and he takes the he takes that metal, refines it, and then crafts it into a katana, right? His first katana, or just like it looks like this. Yeah, it looks like this is katana, and Izuku is still 4, right? Yeah. So then his first katana looks like this, and then let me see here, and basically has the same, and he can put it into his grimoire and stuff, and he basically has the katana basically has the same abilities as the Demon Slayer sword. Yeah, it can reflect magic, which means quirks, which means bending, which means and hockey, with its flat side, and destroy. Yeah, reflect and destroy with its sharp part, right? So then, yeah, he won't be getting a new one in a while. Guess you guys know the ship now. Oh yeah, and he makes himself this suit, right? So then, with the E equals MC squared, right? Yeah. You make that. Izuku will look like this, not just fully Sanjin Woo, just still has a bit of his baby face on that, right? And his hair is mostly green, just a bit dark, right? Just like this, just that white hair is green, right? And it goes down, right? So yeah, 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 yeah. Let's go do this, right? And after doing his daily workout, and he has to do his daily workout, which is his daily quest from the system from Sanjin Woo. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run, right? So then he does all that every single day, and he's gotten pretty damn strong now. And so let's see this one, yeah. And this is going to be his third sword, right? So after a year, he has a full-on camp, and he has just went to, so then he's just 5 now, yeah, but he basically looks like a 10-year-old, and he's super strong, like superhuman strength, right? Even for a 25-year-old, he's super strong. And so he goes to mine the second batch of demon steel from one of the caves, which is basically a kilometer away. That's like 2 hours, like there and back, right? So he goes there, and that's even further from the city. Oh yeah, he made his camp like right next to a waterfall. Yeah, close to a waterfall, but next to a river, right? So then he, where was I? Oh yeah, he mines out the second batch of Devil Steel. He makes his second sword, which will be this one. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I just wanted to say, I do not own any of the art in this video. But yeah. So then, yeah, he makes this sword, which if I have a, nope, I do not. But it, just like the second sword that Asta got, he can use some of his allies' magic, his, strength to boost his sword, right? So then 2 years, yeah, and that's basically it, right? Yeah, he has now, a year later, he has now become the not the, but a master firebender. Yeah, he and he has trained his nin in hockey, just a little bit less than his firebending. Now that he has lightning bending and let's see, this one, yeah. Now that he has fire and lightning bending, he is going to go over to Nen, mostly Nen, then hockey, and so he creates, finds a nice pillar, let's say, and so he just meditates like 9 hours a day there, training his Nen. I really don't know the names of all of the variations of Nen. But yeah. So then, let's see. After 2 years, he has become a Nen master. He's not as strong as Nero, but he's there, up there, like with Gong. Yeah, with Gong. Yeah, he's up there with Gong. Like, he's not the strongest, but he's not like the weakest possible one, right? So then after all of this is said and done, let's see, this is a golem, right? So then it's been 3 years since he has, yeah, 3 years, it has been 3 years since he was abandoned. He's 7 now, right? And he goes ahead and searches for the third batch, the biggest batch of devil steel he has ever found, right? So he goes over and mines a shit ton, like a lot, and his strength is like 20%. Yeah, 20% Deku's 1 for all, right? So then he does that, and Izuku, Izuku refines it a lot, like enough to the point where it's almost fully pure, right? It's impossible to be fully pure. I don't know why. Some excuse. But yeah, and and this is his third sword. It looks like this. I showed it. Here we go. The strongest sword of all. It can basically make a magic hockey bending and then or a quirk seem like it never happened, right? It can totally dispel a curse. So yeah, and he finally does two of double the daily quest, which is again 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run. He doubles that for the first time, and he gets a secret reward, which means that he gets a key. A key is, let's say, an E-rank key, right? And he has gotten a lot of bears by now, like a pack of bears, like 10 bears and like fucking 30 wolves, let's say, right? And that's like 3 packs plus the bears, right? And he still got his his 2 monies. One of them mostly sits on his head, like Nero said on fucking Asta's head, right? Let's see if we can find a good one. Let's see. Yeah, let's go with this, right? So yeah, he goes in, and it's the jackal, like wolf jackal, right? And he goes ahead and obliterates all of them, like deletes them, right? So then and he arises them, and they are stronger than the normal wolves, like, right? So then when he does that, he has like 30 jackals, like, and one giant snake, which is the boss. He got the same let me show you the same knife from yeah, this is the knife he got from a dagger, actually, from the snake, and he got the pouch of poison too, and yeah. So then he that's basically it, right? So then he has his 3 swords, right? And his grimoire, inside of his grimoire, and he looks like let's see, this, just younger and bigger eyes, right? in green hair with dark ends and a grimoire holder, right? So and I'm guessing you already know the ship. Let's see here. Yeah, this is good. So then, one day he's just training, training, right? And he does make the Senku Cola. So you know, yeah. So then two girls, which I mean you already know who they are, right? Suyu, also, it was Su, right? Asui, right? Asui and Mina. He meets Asu and Mina, and they basically, when they see him, they just collapse, right? And he digs them in and puts them on his bed and, lets them rest there for a bit. And then he just, and he goes outside and he senses with Nen, right? Or no, his sense that is higher, right? So then he senses that someone is coming, so he goes outside and waits, right? And there's like on sister, right? Or nun, right? Or should it be like a police officer or something like that? Like, and they say, "Have you seen?" Oh, first, who are you? Right? This Izuku, who is he? And he says that he is Senku. What? Yeah, Senku Netero. Yeah, sure. So then he says that he is Senku Netero, and the officer says, have you, have you seen these two girls? And he points at a wanted poster, and it just says, it reads, wanted alive, and then a picture, only alive, and then a picture of Osue and Mina right next to each other, right? For, let's say, 20 million yen, right? So then he says, no, I haven't seen them. Although I did hear some, although I did hear some commotion from over there, and he points to the right, and to the right is another part of the like forest, and it's not his part of the forest, right? So then the police officer says, "Thanks, kid," and runs over there, and then he summons a bear, right? Let's say a normal bear, and his shadow bear, and he says to go and not mortally wound him, but like enough to knock him out, right? And yeah, just leave him there, right? And so he goes ahead, he does that, and it's, let's say, in front of a cave, so it makes more sense, right? So then he just gets slashed by a giant bear, shadow bear, and then the bear comes back into Izuku's shadow, right? And then Izuku goes inside and sees if the two girls are alive. Wait a minute. Okay. And he checks the two girls, which is Asui and Mina, right? So and Mina, and he checks for them, and they're fine except for a few scratches and bruises, and that's it. So he bandages them up and makes a cup of 3 cups of tea and some stew, right? And he goes outside and waits for them to wake up, right? And so they wake up, go outside, and they see Izuku next to a river drinking some tea, and uh, and looking at the water, which means that he's not facing them. Yeah, that he's not facing them, and so he said. She said. Izuku says, "Hey, you two. It seems that you're awake, right?" And they jolt a bit. Like, it takes them off guard, but you know. And then he turns around and says, "Sit down. They won't find you here." And so they go there. They go ahead and sit next to him, and he asks, "Why was a police officer searching for you?" And they say, "It's because we ran away from an orphanage, and right, and because we were getting bullied because of their weird quirks, right?" So then he says, "Okay." So I mean, she's pink, and Sue is just feeling a frog. So they ran away, got here, and sat down and started to eat. Right, started to talk with him, and he to explain why they are in that situation, and he gives them tea, right? His own tea, right? So then, okay. So then, after all that, they get to know each other and see why they are in this situation, right? So then Izuku offers them to stay at his camp, and they say, "Why do you want us to stay here?" And he says, "Well, you see, I'm quirkless, kind of, right? And I just needed some company, right? So they say, okay, so they decide to, of course, stay. Right? Wait, I'm stupid. This guy. Yeah. So then, he makes them, 2 beds, right? 2 more beds and 2 more houses, right? I mean, first he has a tent and those two sleep in his bed, right? So then, the next day they make 2 more houses with each a bed, right? So then he does his morning routine, which means just his normal daily quest, and this time he got a, let's say, the C ring dungeon. Yeah, let's say that he got a B ring dungeon. Yeah, and Izuku says, "Oh, a B ring, okay? I haven't had this before, right?" So then, the other two wake up, right? And Izuku tells them, "Hey, I'm gonna be gone for a couple of hours actually. I made you some. There is some frozen food in the cave over there, and you should just cook it, and that's basically it, right?" And they say, okay, and so Izuku goes ahead and, opens a gate, and they are just shocked, right? So then he goes in, and let's say that they knights, right? Some knights, right? So then, Izuku is like, okay. So then, Izuku goes ahead and kills all of them, and there is an assassin, right? And a couple of mages. There is, of course, assassins and mages, and the assassin, the assassin almost kills him, but he doesn't. Yeah. So then, and he arises all of the knights he has killed, right? So then, Izuku, or what was it called? Goes ahead and ahead and kills the assassin that was bugging him for quite some time, and he kills the rest of the mages, and there is just one more room with which is the boss room, right? And he arises all of them, right? And he goes ahead and looks at the assassin's body, right? And he sees an orb inside of him, which is what was it called? Skillstone, I think it was. I don't know, but he gets the skill stone for stealth. So then when he crosses it, he will be able to have the active skill stealth, right? So then he goes into the boss room, and it's Icarus and his knights, right? No, it's just Icarus, I think, right? So then Izuku goes toward Icarus and says, "Huh, Red Blood Icarus. It's been a while, right?" So Izuku kills Icarus. It was very hard, right? Because he's what, like 7-year-old, 8-year-old max, right? So yeah, he's 8. Yeah, he's 8. And he has the body of a 13-year-old, right? Yeah, but he will stop growing there for a bit, right? For a few years, then he'll continue growing, right? So then, and even though he has superhuman strength, it was very hard to beat Icarus, and he finally kills Icarus and arises him, and then leaves the dungeon and sees that Sue and Mina made him some ramen, right? So then he goes to his cave cave fridge, right? And he takes 3 Senko colas and brings them to the table with Sue and Mina and Hen, right? So they eat ramen and they drink the cola and yeah. So then they are all 8. Izuku looks like a 13-year-old, and yeah. Wait. Izuku. Oh yeah, and they introduced themselves when they woke up, right? I think I forgot about that. Or so then yeah, and like for a year after that, he trains in hockey mostly, and what was it, and Nen, right? Yeah, and his daily routine, of course, for the daily quest. And yeah, that's basically it, right? So then he's 9 now, and he still looks like a 13-year-old, and he is teaching Sue and Mina school, right? And so after all of this, they have after 2 more years, they are all 11 now. He masters hockey. He masters Ned, and it's still not like Terminators, but it's still like it's better than most non-users, right? So then, yeah, uh, that's basically what happened. Yeah, and he looks like this just with um green hair with uh dark yeah black tips, and the center is lightweight from Zoro, right? Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he decides after all of this time, like what, like 11, 6 years, yeah, there. He decides to name the camp um, Black, the Black Bull, right? So yeah, yeah. Uh, he, yeah. That's. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Where are we? Oh, we're almost an hour. That they comes singular becomes a vigilante. Yeah. So then, 15. Yeah, so we doing a time skip now, right? Um. So another giant time skip, right? Um. So then, let's see here. Let's see. Izuku. After, yeah, they are all 15. He looks like he's, let's say, 17. Um, and yeah, he looks like he's 17, and uh, Sue, Sue and uh, uh, Sue and Mina, yeah, they got a power up too. They learned hockey and a bit, like a little bit of net, like tiniest bit of net, right? No, they didn't learn it. Yeah, actually, what's gonna happen is Sue learned Nen, right? And uh, Mina learned uh, hockey, right? And she knows she does, let's say, know Conqueror's hockey. So she knows Conqueror's hockey. The observation hockey isn't really that good for her, but no, the observation hockey is really good for her, but the armor hockey is not really that good, right? Um, and yeah, and let's see here, and uh, oh yeah, and Froppy, Sue has Nin, in her special ability, is to purify water into oxygen. Yeah, which basically means that she can live underwater now, right? Yeah, and uh, Amina knows a better name too, like 10 and then last say, was it Izetsu? Yeah, and Zetsu, right? Zetsu means that she can conceal her presence, and 10 is long life and protection from a Ren, I think was it. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically it. Um, yeah, let's pick a good one. Here we go. Let's see here. He becomes a vigilante. They go to the oh yeah, and um they have started a relationship, three-way relationship. Yeah, pretty cool, yeah. It just sort of happened, right? I mean, they live together, they eat together, they fucking, I don't know, they drink together, they drink together, I don't know, it just sort of happened, right? Yeah, they are together now, so yeah, it's the time for the entrix exam, right? So, and Izuku has decided that he won't take the entrix exam, he'll just become a vigilante, right? And yeah, wait, let me just see here if I can find Sunjin with his hood on. Not dead, not one of them dead. Yeah. Uh, so, um, 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 yeah, they made their way to the uh, town, and they have basically been wearing what they made. So yeah. Um, uh, uh, let's find a good. Let's see here. Yeah, let's see this, right? Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And this will be his vigilante costume, right? So then they let's put in so right. Let's see here. Is both Izuku and no, both Mina and Sue go to take the entrance exam, and because Sue and Mina, yeah, they both go to take the entrance exam, and uh, the written exam is piece of cake because Izuku was teaching them basically almost everything he knew, right? Which is, I mean, it's almost everything, so let's just say that it's college level, right? And the sludge film never happened. I mean, it did happen, but uh, All Might captured him in time, right? So then, yeah, yeah. Let's see here. After after a bit, yeah, they pass the written exam with flying colors, which means 99. Let's say. Uh, let's see that Sue got 99 and Mina got 98, right? And uh, they go to take the practical exam, which is the robot killing. The either thing does happen, and he doesn't have who to criticize because of the flipping stuff, right? He doesn't have to who to criticize because Deku isn't there mumbling, right? So then he just complains about UA not including the fourth robot or the zero pointer, and then President Mike explains that the zero pointer it's more of an obstacle than you know a robot, right? So then they get to their sites, and yeah. Uh, yeah. Anyway, so then they go to different sites, right? Because they see that they are friends, right? So Nezu sees that they're friends, and he doesn't want them to work together, right? So then they go ahead and make them apart, right? So let's say that the gates open, and immediately when they open, both Mina and Sue run in there and crush a couple of robots just off the bat, right? And I do not know how neither Sue or Mina passed the exam, but they do it like 100 times better. Let's just say 10 times better. And when the zero pointer comes, both of them destroy theirs, right? And they save whoever's under there. Yeah, I mean Mina saves Uraka, and Sue doesn't save anyone because no one was stupid enough to get crushed by the robot, right? So then Nezu is very excited because the because uh, they have both they seem to be friends, and they seem to have shown something more than quirks, right? They can feel their presence, right? A strong presence from both of them. And even though Mina didn't learn a bunch of Nen, she did learn like pretty good Nen. Like let's say uh going after the Heaven's Arena arc, right? And that's you know the strength, right? So then you go ahead and yeah, they go ahead and oh, sorry about that. Uh, they both put um their uh their addresses as the coordinates of uh their camp, right? So then and they changed their names. Let's just say that uh, let's just say that Su is Asui Netero and Mina is Mina Netero instead of Mina Ashiro. She's Mina Netero, right? And Su is Suyu Asui. Now it's Asui Netero, but she still keeps uh, her like her nickname Su, right? And Izuku's civilian name is Izuku Netero, right? So then those yeah, the in then Nezu sees their like their address, right? And it's just basically coordinates to a camp, right? Uh, he looks it up and it's the coordinates to a camp, right? So then just a moment. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, it's 13. Let's see here. Shilin. Um, yeah, and he sees the. He looks up some report cases from over there, right? And it says that a police officer, like 5 years ago, almost died there from a bear attack, right? And the bear was nowhere to be found, right? And he said that it was a dark bear, like not even a fucking black bear, but it's a like dark bear with blue flames going all over it, right? So then he thinks that that's weird, right? And that's where Mina Ashiro and Suyasui got missing, right? And where they were last spotted, and he sees that that's also interesting, right? So then they are just they just change their last name, right? And Um, yeah. He sends. He goes there with Aizawa, right? And he goes to their location with Aizawa. Let's see here. Okay, and Nezuko looks like this, right? Just with this kind of hair, uh, all green, just with black tips, right? Just a moment. And so, yeah, uh, that's basically what he looks like. Let's put this one. Yeah, so Zuko looks like that. Uh, yeah. Oh yeah, and Nezu and Aizawa are coming toward them, and he senses. Izuku senses he was training them, right? And he senses uh, two intelligent beings, right? One's a human, one's something, right? He thinks it's probably a quirk animal with intelligence or just looks cool or something, right? So this guy's bet. But the guy's pressure, his nin reserves are big, like big, like giant. I mean, it's not like giant, but it's like pretty down good, like, you know. And he thinks, okay, it's either a bodybuilder, a fucking uh, martial arts master, or a hero, right? And it could be a hero and his pet, right? And they're just going to scout out this place, right? So then, uh, oh yeah, and Izuku has made a phone, right? Yeah, um, like Senku's phone, the backpack one, right? And he has made it like fairly recently, and yeah, so like 2 months ago, and Izuku just says to both Sue and uh, Mina that they've got company, right? And they go outside, and you know, uh, Izuku just prepares them some tea, right? And a table, just some nice tea and stuff. And he made tea for 4 people because he thought the bed wouldn't want any food, right? Any tea, right? So then they sit down, right? Mina, Sue, and Izuku sit down as uh, as Aizawa and Nezu both uh, get into their camp, right? And this is a week after the entrance exam, right? So they just ask if there is a Mina Nero and Asui Nero. Do Asui Nero and Mina Nero live here? And Izuku just says yes, and sit down, right? So uh, um, let's just say that uh, he just says that to them that just to Aizawa to sit down, right? And they talk over tea, right? So then uh, yeah, Aizawa says okay, and sits down, right? And then uh, Izuku says, if you want, do you want us to bring some meat, let's say, for your pet? Or, I mean, I can just look at him looking at us drink tea, right? Without giving him something to eat, right? And Aizawa says, what pet? That, and Izuku says, that pet that's inside of your scarf. And uh, Izuku and Aizawa says, that's not a pet, that's and how did you know that? There was an animal inside of my scarf. And Izuku says, well, you see, I have a special ability that lets me sense basically any living being that's near me, right? And that's how I got cured in time and stuff. So then Nezu pops out, and Aizawa says, that makes sense, right? So then, yeah, uh, and then Izuku says, oh, look how cute he is. Cute baby. Cute baby. And then Nezu just says, can you please stop doing that? And then just Izuku says, holy shit, you can talk? That's a fucking amazing quirked animal, right? So then Aizawa says he's not a. I mean, he's a quirked animal, but he's not my pet. He's the principal of UA. Oh, sorry about that. And Mizuku says, "Oh, I see. I presume you have an intelligence coordinate." And Mizuku says, "Yes, precisely." Ooh, and then Mizuku says, would you like some tea? And then Nezu says, yes, why thank you. And then while he's preparing some tea, Izuku says, so I presume you're here because of the entrance exam? And they say yes because of the letters, right? So then yeah, and then Zuko asks, did they make it in? Then Aizawa says, yes, they did. They got one of they got the highest scores both in the practical and the theoretical part of the exam. Uh, and then Izuku says, that's no surprise, I taught them. Uh, Basically all they know. I taught them how to, read and write and, and math and stuff, and history, you know, some basic stuff. And, uh, and chemistry. Ooh, I love chemistry and physics and stuff. And I taught them how to fight. I taught them all my skills, And I was always just amazed by this. And he asks, you can you also have that presence?" And Zuko says, "You mean this?" And he uh, taps his foot on the ground, and he exits Zetsu, yeah, and he just unleashes his nen, and uh, they just almost faint, and uh, and then he taps his foot again on the ground, and then just goes back into Zetsu, right? And Aizawa says, "Yes, exactly that. How do you do that?" And he says, "Oh, that just then it's a skill actually. I got it after killing a lot of animals. Because you gotta survive and your body adapts, kind of. So, yeah, that's how I got that skill, and I learned to control it at the point where I can basically protect myself fully, and then gives you a boost to your strength, speed, and senses, but destroys your stamina quick. So you gotta bump up a lot of stamina just to hold up and then for a while. And he's just bullshitting this answer, because he ain't gonna tell him that he's the incarnation of a fictional character, And so, yeah, uh, they say that's amazing, And Mina Nero was able to harden her arms, and and she says that her quirk was acid, and Izuku says, yeah, uh, that's called armament. No, yeah, no, it's it basically when you compress a lot of your stamina or energy into a certain part of your body, like your skin, at a certain body part, right? So, you transform your skin into pure nin, and then it becomes as hard as diamond, right? And then Nezu asks, what's that book on his hip, right? And Izuku just says, "Oh, it's basically my notebook where I write down everything, like a diary, if you will, And then Nezu says, I see, I see. So, yeah, and then, what was it called? Right. So then, Izuku, says to, and then Nezu asks, how did you three get here, right? And Izuku says, I was abandoned when I was 4 because I was quirkless, right? And let's just say that neither Nezu or Aizawa hate quirkless people, All Might does, but, you know, Izuku ain't gonna meet him for a while, And, Nezu says, I see, I'm sorry if it's a touchy subject. And Izuku says, no. And turns out that I actually had a lot of intelligence, even though I didn't have a quirk. So then I was able to, create this camp with my primitive knowledge, And I was able to create a sword, actually, with which I survived, basically. After a few years, I think, was it 3 years? That means, yeah, we were all 7, and when I found them collapsed right in front of my camp, so, I bring them in here and let them rest, right? And the rest is history. And that's interesting, very interesting. You see, I found some reports of Mina Shiro and Suyasui disappearing here, or being less seen here, And Izuku says, yeah, who are they? Oh yeah, who are those girls, I presume? And Nezu says, yeah, you presume, right? They are girls. But, do you not know them? I mean, and Zuko says, well, actually, when I was 7, before I met these two, I actually did encounter a cop who was trying to find 2 missing girls, and he just shows me the pictures of them. And a few days later, I saw these two, you know. So then, and then, Nezu asks, so if they aren't Mina Ashido and Suyuasui, and Izuku says, no, they are not them, you know? Okay, we're still recording it. Are you sure? Says Nezu. And then Nezu says, yeah, I'm sure. And then Nezu says, well, you're not gonna fool me. Sorry for that pause. Well, you're not gonna fool me. I know that, right, boy? And then Izuku says, crap. So then, you know, he, Nezu says, don't worry, we're not gonna out, you know. And then Izuku says, thank God. I just have a question for them. Why did they run away, you know, from the orphanage? And both Mina said because they bullied us because of our quirks, you know. So then we ran away and got here, you know. So then, yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, we got to over there. Yeah, and UI will implement the dorms, just because they basically don't have a house. It's like 2 hours, you know, from here, from the Black Bulls camp to the to the to UA, right? So then they are going to implement the norms and stuff. Yeah. So then Nezu just says, okay, that should be all that I wanted to ask. Yeah. So you two are coming to. Oh, wait. Izuku just asks. Nezu just says, one more thing. What are you three? Like father-daughter situation or what? And then Izuku says, "Oh, we're all three of us are boyfriend and girlfriend, right?" And Nezu just says, "Oh, I see. Okay, cool. Right? So, yeah, that is basically it. They just go away they give them their uniforms and they just go away, and in a week from then, um, they will go ahead and, go to UA, and that's when I'm gonna stop it, okay? And yeah, goodbye to everyone who was stupid enough to listen.